there's a lot of other addictions too, Jen. It's not just like substance, right? It's not just alcohol or marijuana or drugs. I mean, I think, there's, video games. I think, and probably the one that is in most relevant in a lot of conversations today is social media. The addiction
Yes.
to social media.
Hmm.
I know myself, I've had to be really, really careful. I'll go through periods of, uh, I don't know if it's truly addiction, but maybe I'm borderline where
Hmm.
I'm just so
Hmm.
on my phone and posting and da 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 da. And I'll do that for days to the point where I just hit this brick wall and I just get so frustrated and so annoyed and just become so exhausted that then
Yeah.
I completely check out.
Yeah.
I end up hating social media, and then I just
Hmm.
completely check out for days. Like I don't even want nothing to do with it. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
find this balance with social media right now with my life and the workplace. I've been really working on that, trying to find this balance. So,
Right.
but that's hard. But I'm not that sure if that's a good comparison, or if that social media runs parallel with alcohol or substance addiction. But
Well, it does. And I can tell you that I've taken a break from social media. Am I still on there doing marketing? Yes. But this was actually one thing that I took from you, Sharon, is I'm getting out now within my community. I'm meeting other business owners. I don't know if it was a podcast or an interview that you did. You said make up cookies or cupcakes and go around and give I think it was cookies. Everybody loves cookies. I remember you saying
yeah,
that. And get out there, get in front. But before I couldn't because I was so ashamed. I felt like I was generic and not, I was hungover. I couldn't wait to get back home to have a drink.
did you
So,
think like did you think like people could tell, like if people saw you they know? Did you
no.
have like that kind of feeling? No.
Well, no, no,
Mm.
because even when I drank, I mean, I talk about it. I wasn't that sloppy drunk, and I could drink and still be just as plain. And it was weird. So, so
Well, and I
strange.
think that's the misconception, right? And I
Mhm.
think in
Yeah.
our industry, it's probably, if there are people suffering with addiction, it's probably alcohol and pills,
Yes.
or pills, right?
Yes.
Um, and yes, and I think that's the misconception. In order to fit the term alcoholic, then you're disheveled.
Hmm.
You're not going to work. You're,
Right.
you got no bank account. I think maybe that's the misconception, but very well put together, well dressed, attractive people who speak eloquently with a good
Mhm.
business, good bank
Yeah.
account, just well put together from top to
Hmm.
bottom, can be an alcoholic, you
Yeah.
know. And I think pills might. I think there's a lot of people with addiction to pills because they get prescribed by the doctor. I think a lot of people rationalize pill addiction because they're prescribed by a doctor and they can rationalize it as medication. Well, my doctor
Right.
gives it to me, right? So
Hmm.
I know that I don't know what's really going on in our industry, like who may have addiction issues or not. But within my clientele, like we're up close and personal with them. We have conversations with them, and sometimes I can spot it, Jen. I can
Hmm.
spot the
Yeah.
pills,
Yes.
and I can tell that they use pills.
Yes.
You can spot it, and every now and then you'll spot it with alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's just recently. I did a client and did her and the touch up, and the first time I smelt the alcohol on her, I thought, well, she's nervous, But then she came in with the touch up, and again, and you just can kind of tell. So it's just
Yeah.
these addictions are out there and they're affecting everybody.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes. I actually helped a client get sober and go to recovery.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. So it's everywhere. It's our clients, our, co-workers, family members. It doesn't pick and choose, that's for sure.
Yeah. And it's sad that it takes, people so long to find help and I'm wondering, why. Maybe it's the
Mm,
shame, they don't
it
want to
is.
admit it, or maybe they think they won't be fun anymore, or
Mhm.
I think for me with like marijuana, I didn't, because I paint and I draw, and I didn't think I would be creative. I thought I would
Yeah.
lose my creativity when it came to creating my drawings and my paintings. I had that fear. Um, and back then I was doing a lot of body tattooing. So I was drawing up custom designs for a lot of clients. And I was just scared to death that I was going to lose my creative juices and not be able to draw and
Yeah.
create anymore. And
Yeah.
when I finally quit, that didn't happen at all.
Mhm.
It didn't happen at
Yeah.
all. I don't know if my creativity got better. I certainly got more clear, and
Yeah.
but I didn't lose it. I'm still
Good.
just as creative. Yeah, and life certainly is not boring without it. I think that's the other thing that maybe prevents people from getting help is they think life will be boring
Right.
without it. But you know what I learned is boring is another word used to replace depression,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
if you're saying to yourself, well, I think my life will be boring without it, really you're saying, well, I just think I'm going to fall into, depression without it.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
may be true, but you're already in depression if you're
Yes.
in addiction, right?
Yes.
Um, and I think coming out of addiction and finding sobriety, well, it's not, to be really real and honest, when you find recovery from addiction, that does not cure your
Mhm.
depression. You may very well stay in a state of depression because now you don't have the substance
Mhm.
to blur
Yeah.
your current state of life and
Yeah.
to blur and dissolve the memories or the trauma or whatever it is that led you to addiction, right?
Yeah.
So now you have to face all that. You have to
Mhm.
face all that, and that can be some of the most difficult times of your life. I think facing the traumas, things that may
Yes.
have happened to you, things that led you to addiction, those memories, those traumas. Um,
Yes.
so you will probably stay depressed for
Yeah.
quite some time working through that, but
Yes.
and it's harder to be sober than addicted at first. I think it was for me. That was my
Yeah.
personal experience. It was, I thought quit marijuana, get sober,
Yes.
and my life is going to get really happy and I'm going to be really
Mhm.
happy and life will be
Uh,
easier. And it didn't work like that, Jen. My life
No.
got
No.
harder, man. I got more
Yes.
depressed. It got
Yeah.
harder because now I had to face, I had to cope with
Yes.
everything that I was not used to coping with, right?
Yes.
Because I didn't cope with
Yes.
anything.
Mhm.
Anything that popped up in my life that I had to cope with, well, I just smoke weed. And now I don't have to cope with it. So now
Right.
you have to
Right.
learn a whole set of coping skills.
Yes. And my big one was boundaries. I didn't know how
Mm.
to set boundaries with anybody. So now becoming sober, I've set boundaries with, even close family members, friends. And if you're not going to follow my boundaries, then it's okay. But a boundary setting for me was huge being sober.
Okay.